Andrew. Along here is the talented and beautiful Ms. Lynah. And I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you for having me.
And don't mind me, I just had another brain fart.
That's okay. I get brain farts like all the time. It's kind of ridiculous.
I have this thing on my phone where you type the person's name in, a text to speech. So I can't pronounce someone's name, but I type it in and it pronounces it for me. So it came up Lana, and you said it's Lana, and you just said it was something else, and it's kind of I really need to find something else to help me out.
That's totally cool. I totally get it, and I'm pretty sure it got stuck in your brain already. It's okay, so that's the way it's pronounced, right? Just sort of stick to it.
Now, like I said, it's uncensored. You can talk about anything you want, and this is your time. And basically, I'd make this announcement for all my interviews. Basically, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with a learning disability, I can still overcome obstacles. I used to say controversy, and a lot of people are like, well, what controversy did you come over? That's fine, I will change it. I used to say turn myself into a perfect example for people deaf, blind, and in a wheelchair. After 168 interviews or so, they're like, you can't be a perfect example for someone who's deaf, blind, and in a wheelchair, because you're not in a wheelchair, you're not deaf, and you're sure as hell not blind. So how are you a perfect example? It's you couldn't just tell me that when I was doing episode 1 through 10, you had to wait till I got 100 and whatever. And so now my perfect example is okay, John, I really just need to come up with a catchphrase at this point. I'm gonna keep changing it. But the whole point of it is to show people that even with a learning disability, I can still mount to something, overcome obstacles that are thrown in my way. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any type of disability, physical or mental, that if you have any type of disability, you should never have people label you or hold you back, and you should prove to them you can still mount to something. And I bet you anything, someone's got to poke fun at that. It's well, why you say that when you can say blah blah this? It's no, it's fine. It sounds good. Leave it alone.
Don't mess with it too much.
That's true. Now, starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I am 20 years old. I live in New York City with my family. I sort of just started acting, and next month in April, I have a modeling gig already set up for myself. So basically, I started wanting to act when I was in high school. I would always sign up for the drama elective, and I was really that was my happiest moments of school, was when we were just practicing plays and everything. But because I was in a very small private school, there was a limit to the amount of things we could do. So we weren't doing productions that you would find on Broadway or off Broadway. We were doing things that we found online that were decent enough for a Christian perspective. But even with that, I was really happy with it. In my senior year of high school, I decided that my two choices were either going to acting school or going to pastry school. So I really wanted to do the acting thing because I love baking. Oh my gosh, I love baking. But I didn't want to do it for the rest of my life. So I just said, let me try the acting thing first. And if that doesn't work out, I'll just go and be a pastry chef, I guess. So I went to AMDA and I auditioned. And that very same day, I realized that was my first audition ever. And I instantly, snap of a finger, got so nervous. It was all in my head, totally, but all the lines that I memorized, I just totally forgot them. I didn't bring anybody with me, so no support. I was shaking and like sweating for some reason, and it was not good. And I thought I was gonna be okay when I first started saying my lines, and it just went downhill from there. They had this thing where if you had messed up, you would stop and just put your head down for a second, and then when you were okay, just pick your head back up and say your lines. Well, at some point I had forgotten my lines, and I just like put my head down and I just kept it down because it wasn't coming back to me. They're like, okay, you can go now. I'm like, thank you so much. And I knew, of course, they didn't accept me. If they had, it would have been a miracle. So after that, I went to pastry school. I went to the French Culinary Institute, which is now the International Culinary Center. And I graduated. I had a really great time. My chefs were amazing. And I just decided, okay, I'm just going to do this for the rest of my life. But what ended up happening was that I got a job at a cafe as a baker, and it was my first legitimate, like, yeah, I'm an adult now. I have money coming in. And I just was so excited at first, getting to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. And
what's better than that?
Sorry?
I didn't mean to interrupt. I just said, what's better than that?
I know, right? It's just, 5 a.m., the sun's not up, there's nobody on the streets except for drunk people. Woo! But I was okay at first, and I was super excited, wasn't getting a lot of sleep. My first week there, my basic role was just to replace somebody that was leaving because they had a new job to get to. And the person there was only 2 people in the kitchen. The person who was left was supposed to train me, and that was just going to be the end of it. Well, the person who was going to train me walked out. And the person who was leaving could only stay so long. They had another job. So I was basically left alone for like a little while. Just me, nervous baker, don't know what I'm doing. Spent too many hours. And after a while, we hired some more people, which was fantastic. But after about, I think, 11 months of me being there, I was let go through no fault of my own. We had hired, there was too many people in the kitchen at one time, so they let me go. But I thank God that they let me go because my legs could not handle it anymore. It was around that time that I realized I didn't really want to do it anymore. I wasn't passionate about it. It didn't make me happy sweating in a kitchen all day. You know, I felt like there was something more I could be doing with my life. So I just started taking ballet lessons. And that was just sort of my way of creeping back to something that required me to use some sort of artistic something with myself. It was my first time learning ballet, like, ever, and I was really excited, and I studied that for about 6 or 7 months, and then I ended up with an injury on my leg, so I couldn't practice it anymore. That was just about last year, but it was so fun, and I still practice it at home, so, hey. So, along with the whole not being, like, satisfied with my life, you know, I decided that I really wanted to act. I wanted to give it a real try. I knew I didn't give it the real winner's try, I guess, the first time I did it. So I said, you know, why not? Just, you know, if I don't succeed at that, I can always fall back on being a baker for the rest of my life, which sounded so depressing just now. But anyhow, I got it's necessary. I got some headshots off of Groupon because why not? Deals, right? And I had just thrown myself out there. I signed up with a bunch of casting sites and everything, just like hoping and praying that somebody was like, yeah, we'll give you a shot, champ. And I was, just, trying very hard to put myself out there. But there's millions of people putting themselves out there. So, it takes some time. But I did end up landing a few background roles, which were so much fun. Everybody I meet is like just so nice to work with, and everything. And then I have, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the modeling thing that is happening in April, coincidentally on my birthday, which is like a double awesome thing happening. And I just, wow, I'm really trying to get myself out there. Stage 32, as you know, is a fantastic way to network with people. And I've starting to get something going with another person I met who wants to collaborate on some ideas. And I'm like, yeah, fantastic. Let's do this. I'm so excited. I think that's pretty much my story for now. I'm sorry if I
No, it's fine. I like stories. But when you brought up a part where you're talking about all these different things, and I said something, I forgot who I said it to, but I said it. I said, two things are going to happen. I made up my own saying. It's like, it's not the fact you're falling. Like, I do have a fear of falling, but it's not the fear of falling, it's the impact. And that's what scares you more because you don't know. But I was saying two things are going to happen. One, you're going to hit the ground running, and you just got to take off. Or two, you got to break your legs. So you either got to take off or you're going to leave a nice impact. But, what you're saying, there's nothing wrong with being a baker, make a lot of money. And you seen the movie, what was the movie, Waiting? For the guy who did Two-Face from Batman. He was the baker, and then he eventually got his own restaurant.
I don't think I saw. What was it called?
Waiting.
No, I don't think I saw that one.
Well, but basically, you take an opportunity, and if you work at it long enough, basically you can turn into anything you want. But it's the acting thing, and we're in the same boat. You said you're 20. I'm 27. Only 7-year difference, but it doesn't really mean anything. I kind of was when I was your age. I sound old already. 7 years ago, I kind of was. I didn't have my head up my ass, and I was working in retail. And I said, this could have had potential. And there's a couple of wrestlers, a couple of actors I might have had the opportunity to interview 7 years ago. But, I have no idea. My head was up my ass. But, there's some people say, oh, you weren't ready for it. And people would say that for you. If this doesn't work out, you're not ready for it. So, like I said, basically, it's lots of emotional speech by Fester Stallone. I'm going to send you the link. It's really good. He basically is, if you've seen Rocky Balboa, he's talking to his son. He says, if something doesn't go your way, don't look and be a coward and blame someone. Don't blame your brother. Don't blame your sister. Don't blame your parents. Don't look to blame someone if something's not going your way, because cowards do that. And it's about getting up, and it's about seeing how hard life can hit you, and it's about just moving forward and saying, okay, life threw this at me, but I'm not giving up. I'm still gonna walk forward. I'm still gonna, even though I'm kind of down and depressed, but I'm not gonna give up. I don't want to die as a coward. I want to be remembered as making an example as someone, making, I always say it's the thought that always counts, and making a difference in someone's life. Doesn't matter if it's big, small, whatever. It's the thought that always counts. And God forbid I die one day, at least that person will be like, one thing I remember about Keith Andrew was he never gave up, or he told me I could still amount to something. Or to use you for a reference, for an example. And like it's saying, you made a difference, saying you never give up, always work hard, take your vitamins, say your prayers, and no, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no, please, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go right ahead.
No, but it's basically, just don't look to make excuses for yourself. I was listening and I was just thinking at the speech you said about the acting and the culinary. One of those things are going to work out. But it's all about time and passion of how much passion and time do you want to pursue in this area, and at the same time saying, I wish I knew I did this, or something happens, you'd say, oh, I blame blah 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 for holding me back, and say I could have went for this opportunity. So it's better to be a winner and being established on your own than looking for or being a coward and blaming someone. If that makes any sense.
No, I totally get it. Yeah, I personally don't hold anyone else accountable for my own actions. I believe in that very strongly. If you don't end up where you want to be in life, the first person you have to look at is yourself. What could you have done differently to make something happen, make something move forward? Some of it is circumstantial, and some things get in the way, but you can't blame other people for you not being in the spot that you want to be. If you had the opportunity and the resources to get you there, there's no reason why you can't just reach forward and go for it.
That's true. Now the next subject I was going to ask you was, growing up, did you ever do any sports? Were you athletic? And before you answer that, you mentioned you were a dancer. So apparently you were athletic and everything if you were a dancer. But when you were a dancer, did you ever cause any pile-ups and many bloopers and mistakes? Or never happened?
Gosh, no. I only started dancing last year, but I really wish I would have done it when I was younger because it's so much fun. But I used to play volleyball and softball, and the reason I got into volleyball was because my middle school teacher had sort of forced me into it. I didn't want to at all. I wasn't interested in playing sports or anything. But I was the tallest girl in class, and he said, you're going to be on the team. And this dude was in the Vietnam War, so I'm not going to mess with him. I wasn't all that interested in it at first. I was like, boo, volleyball, you just hit the ball, woo. But it ended up being really fun and a nice little team-building effort for the school that I was in. And as for softball, I don't think we ever actually played any legitimate games, but we did practice a lot. There was the one time where the coach tossed the ball at me during practice, and he said for me to hit it right back to him. And I did, and I hit him in his chest, and he ended up with a huge bruise, and middle school me felt really, really bad about that. But he was so happy, the happiest person I've ever seen getting hit by a hard object. He was like, that was fantastic! Do it again! Everybody else do it like that! I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I'll get you ice, I promise. But, yeah, I like athleticism. I like moving around and everything. I still play volleyball occasionally with my friends whenever we're at the beach or the lake or whatever. And like I said with the dancing, unfortunately I only started last year, but I still practice it in my house whenever I can.
All right. Yeah. Now, did he ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids, or not a human pyramid girl?
But if I were in the human pyramid, I would definitely be on the bottom, a little scared of people lifting me up and everything, and just being responsible for somebody else. So there's that. My friend who was a cheerleader for a little while in college, he tried to have him and his dancer friends lift me up, just so I could just stand on top and go woo! And I was really excited about it before they actually lifted me up. I was like, yeah, let's And the second I wasn't even standing up. I was like, no, naturally, me being on the ground is a little, like, uneasy. You know, my legs are like, I'm like a newborn deer or something sometimes. I'm so clumsy. But, yeah, that part was not quite so great. I like to be stable and firm on the solid earth.
Well, would you be interested in doing one, or is that not your forte?
The human pyramid?
Yeah.
Only if I was on the base. I don't like piling up too high. Just don't want to be too responsible for things. If you're on the ground, it's like, who could blame you? You're on the ground. You can't move around too much.
That's true. The reason I bring it up is I'm working on a project. It's a YouTube record. Actually, it was supposed to be the Guinness Book of World Record attempt, but they wanted like 50 or 100, so I was like, okay, forget it. I'm going to do something smaller. So on YouTube, I'm trying to get all the people who I interview from New York City to do a New York record. And basically, it's got to be a bunch of girls coming together and doing the pyramid. And I was wondering if you would be interested in taking part in it.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that sounds like so much freaking fun. Yes, 1,000 times yes, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, after the show we can talk about it, but I just want to know, have you heard the word?
I have, the bird is the word, I'm sorry.
Oh, well, you had a row in it, but it...
I have seen that episode so many times.
There was this other comedy skit. I forgot what it was, but it's pretty... Oh, do you watch American Dad?
I used to watch it, like, consistently, and then I just sort of stopped for some reason. But yeah, I used to watch American Dad.
I saw a skit, yes. I'm not really a big fan of it, but I do watch it for Patrick Stewart. And he was at a play, and he made a joke and no one laughed. He said, yes, plays can be very boring in a lonely place. Anybody had to laugh because it was Patrick Stewart, you know. Here's a funny story about him, actually, then we can go to our next subject. He was at a comic convention. I think was Comic-Con. Actually, two questions, but yeah, I think it was Comic-Con or a Star Trek convention. And there's people in the front row who were, you know, wearing the Star Trek uniform, and they stood up and it's like, Captain, my Captain, and you get to live long and prosper. And he told security, get those two idiots out of here.
Oh, no.
Actually, I think it was at a comic book convention, or he was on stage doing poetry. It was one of those two things. I think I got it confused. He was either at a convention, or he was doing poetry, and they said, my captain, and you live long and prosper, and he just told security, get him out of here.
Was it worth it?
Now, the next question I was going to ask you, and then I can pass it over to you, you can ask me anything you want, is have you ever been to Comic-Con?
I have not, but you know what? I feel like I should at some point, because it just looks like an entire bundle of just fun and costumes and just, I don't know, like part of it is nostalgic for a lot of people. You know, comics, they go way back before I even existed. And, you know, I would like to go. I just haven't gone yet.
Well, if you're interested, I'm looking for a group of people who just want to go down. Now, I'm going to go and hand out business cards now. You know, people are going to make fun of me for that. It's like, not an official talk show. I'm trying to turn into an official talk show. And it's kind of like, all right. But, you know, basically, I always wanted to go. You know, my family's, you know, I ever got to go, ever not. So, hey, if you're interested and a bunch of friends who want to hang out, I'm always up for the idea, but don't mean to impose on you. I apologize.
No, that's totally cool. Like, I don't think any of my close friends would go to Comic-Con, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I would love to go.
I know a couple of people I interviewed. Are you a mighty... I know you said you're 20, so you may or may not know this. and no disrespect, but are you a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fan, or?
I don't think I know what that is.
It's basically Power Rangers, but it's from 1993.
Oh, see, now, I was born in 1994, so it missed out on me.
Alright, well, I interviewed people like Goldar. I did a demo interview with Rita Raposa, who's also Barbara Goodson. People like that. I interviewed, let's see, are you a fan of Dragon Ball Z?
How long ago was that? I think about 2 years ago, I had gone through most of the episodes with my brother. It's a pretty cool show. I'm not, obsessed with it or anything, but I could watch it, yeah.
I got the chance to interview the guy who did South Kai. Also, he did PyCon.
Nice.
And I also interviewed Eric Vale, who did the voice of Future Trunks.
Well, look at you.
I wanted to interview Chris Sabat. Chris Sabat did Vegeta. And I wanted to interview Sean. I can't remember his last name, but he does Goku. Working on it. But there's other people I'd like to interview, like Kevin Conroy. He's Batman. And it's funny when he talks in his normal voice. And you're like, that's so fucking cool. It's Batman. And he's not. He's like a normal person. Yes, can I get this Coke? And he's doing the Batman voice. No, he's talking in his normal voice.
He's just speaking.
And what was it? There's I interviewed I can't remember her last name, but she did Wonder Woman from the Super Friends.
Wow.
She was really nice, but I didn't really like that Wonder Woman. It was the 80s and she sounded manly.
A little too butch for you.
but like I said, she was a nice lady, and I interviewed, are you a WWE wrestling fan, or?
No, for me, when that was on TV as a kid, I was like, that's a boy thing. I don't watch that. Never got into it.
I got the chance to interview Double J Jet. I was very disappointed in this because I had an opportunity to interview Double J Jet Jarrett. It was supposed to be what we're doing right now. I talked to the PR people, told them a half hour, okay. It's got to be video, okay. Now, I didn't hear anything leading up to the day. So I asked his co-worker who works for him, said, can you do a follow-up for me? And he said, yes, he's got to reach out to you tomorrow on Skype. Okay. Talk to Jeff, the Double J, and I said, that's a real honor. Okay, you ready for a half hour, 46-minute conversation? No, I don't have that time. Okay, but how much time do you have? 15, 20 minutes. Fine, let's just do 20. We're going to do video, right? No, I didn't agree to that. We're just going to do audio. It's okay, 2 for 2. What exactly did PR even tell you? Nothing. They didn't tell me anything. They just told me I had a meeting. I was like, you know what? And this is exactly why I don't go for agents. If I can't talk to the person directly, it's not worth it.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's so disappointing.
But I didn't want to miss the opportunity of having, it's freaking Double J Jet Jerry. He's a Hall of Famer. Fine, I take the audio. but then I asked some questions, like he was good friends with Owen Hart, wrestling and everything, and you're coming off to be negative. Hey, if I'm coming off being negative, I apologize, because I guess he turned all religious. That's fine. I do believe in God, but I don't walk around being whole religious and anything. But he's saying I was being negative. I wasn't being negative. I was just trying to have a conversation. And that's kind of like, okay, I'm not going to toss it. Thank you for your time, and whenever you're available, we should hang out. Definitely haven't heard back from him. But yeah, he was a nice guy, and the whole point is I was honored and privileged to talk to him. And that was the second wrestler that I talked to. The first one was Lenny Pablo. He was the brother of Macho Man Randy Savage. And now that was a video interview. And if you like, I can send it to you. It was really funny. And it's both of them. Out of all of them, I did 199 out of all of them. You know, there was a bunch of cute girls I interviewed, yes, but if I had to pick two of them that actually stand out the most, would be my friend Kerrigan Mayhem. He does Goldar, and Lenny Pablo. You know, those two stand out the most. The other ones were good, but you know, there's some where they drag, but you know, I don't mean to ramble on. I waited a whole week to do an interview. This week, well, I don't know for you, but this week dragged. Because you know, this Monday, I was supposed to do 2 interviews, and they just got up and left. They didn't know answers. Say, oh, we can't, or no, rescheduled, and didn't hear anything. So for the whole week, I didn't have an interview. It's like, oh, what day it is? Oh, it's still Tuesday. Oh, jeez, it's gotta be a long week.
Just swivel around in my chair again, I guess.
Give me something to do. Now, I'm going to pass the show over to you. I'm going to put you in the driver's seat. Is there any subjects you would like to talk about? Anything you're passionate about? Anything that fires you up?
Something that fires me up? Oh my gosh. Well, I personally freaking love horror movies. I can't get enough. I haven't even been through all of the classics yet. I'm just like, there's so many to watch. My main, I guess, passageway of getting through it is just, my goal rather, is to go on Netflix and just watch all of them before it, of course, like, disappear or anything. And, like, but the hardest thing with that is, like, choosing which one to watch next. So I don't want to just, like, click one, and then the next, and then the next. It's like, I want to know what I'm getting myself into, and just, yeah. But, I feel like, just my basic opinion on horror movies nowadays, Paranormal Activity is not scary. It is, for me personally, it's not scary. All of them, Paranormal 1 through, 7 or something like that, it didn't do anything for me. You know, most of it was just people talking normally, and then something moves in the corner, and the baby gets up, floats in the air, slips back down. And for me, I was just sort of like, oh my gosh, when is this going to be over? I can't stand this. And then, of course, something like a little bit, you know, comes in at like the very end. And I'm like, well, the movie's over now. Who cares? And it wasn't for me. But I feel like they're getting a little better for the like quality that they are nowadays. Like with Annabelle, saw that in a movie theater. Kind of scared the crap out of me a little bit. It's just really like super duper creepy. So like spoiler alert, the part where I don't know if you saw it.
Heard about it, I never saw it.
You should watch it. Do you like horror movies?
I was gonna ask you talking about the good ones, or for the classics, or you just mean like, well, yes, it's horror movie, but you know, it's still a piece of shit movie. And what I mean by that, I mean like you had like you had Fright Night, you had Lost Boys, you had let's see what so trying to think of the 80s. It's Fright Night,
Halloween. Wait, is that the one I'm thinking about?
Yeah, it was the Mike had in the mask, right?
Yeah.
If I was a big Freddy Krueger fan.
That's just.
But I don't like the new ones. They read, what was it? The one movie I do like, he's from Transformers, Shia LaBeouf, was in Disturbia.
Oh, yeah. When I think that came out when I was in, like, just starting high school or just finished middle school. I watched that thing so many times for some reason.
But you are this one franchise, and before I mention the franchise, the new movies, like they said, oh, we're gonna redo all the classics. Okay, we're gonna remember the movie Dolls.
Dolls.
It was a British horror movie, but it still had a dark comedy to it.
I don't think I saw that one. No.
Well, I would recommend it. It's really good.
Another one on my list.
But they would say, like, for example, we're gonna remake Dolls. Okay, we're gonna remake Fright Night. Are you gonna do it right? Is it going to be exactly like the original Fright Night? Nope. We're gonna take a big jump on it, and it's like, what is this? It has nothing to do with it, and it's the new Freddy Krueger was terrible, and it's like, if you're not gonna do it over and do it right, then don't freaking do it. You're gonna ruin it.
Okay. Carrie, did you see the new Carrie?
Heard of it, but I know a lot of people are making fun of it.
It was just, I was like, I had this inner desire to just scream the entire time. I was like, you ruined it. You're just terrible. I hate you for this. Oh my gosh, you should have just left it alone. It was just not, it was not okay. I was so upset.
That's true. Now, the franchise I was hinting towards that if you really want to be disturbed, and I know, like, as you've seen Resident Evil, and that's not the franchise I was talking about, was the elevator scene. But even though that's pretty messed up too, in a way. But the franchise, I think they did 5 of them. The Final Destination movies. I can't watch any of those. Those are just so fucked up. And I was like, I have enough mental problems. I don't need, like, having a fear of walking near a light, having a light bulb, go for their head, or use a toaster, and have the toaster magically turn into a blue dragon or whatever. It's like, even with TV shows, like Stalker, Hostages, Criminal Minds, Criminal Intent. What's the deal with all the screwed up themes? I know people are mentally disturbed, but come on, it's like, who's really gotta watch this?
It's a dark, dreary world we're living in, apparently. I personally love Criminal Minds because Matthew Gray Gubler is just perfect in every way. He's just, like, tall and lanky, and his hair is always perfect for some reason. But yeah, no, I totally get it. There's a lot of really depressing stuff going on, like with that show that used to be on Cold Case.
Oh, I missed that.
All the time I used to watch that, but like the tint that they were using, the filter was just like getting bluer and bluer and bluer. And for some reason that really like weirded me out. I was like, I kind of don't want to watch this anymore. It's getting really, really depressing. It was just not okay.
What about Without Trace? That was pretty good.
Oh yeah, I used to watch that show. I used to watch both those shows like back to back for some reason. I don't even know how old I was. I'm like, it was just a lot of heavy stuff for my age. I remember, but it interested me so much. All these like past stories and like, where's the DNA? Where's the guy? There's blood everywhere. Haha.
One good show I would recommend. I can recommend a lot of them, but another show I recommend would be Life on Mars. I'm not gonna ruin how it ends, but basically he goes back to the 70s and he goes to a crime scene, and he's gonna say, "Let's go to run the fingerprints and DNA." It's like, D and what? So whatever you say, spaceman. Because in the 70s, he didn't have running DNA and fingerprints, and everyone thought he was crazy, but, it was a good show.
It sounds like, I feel like that's on Netflix. I think I spend too much time on Netflix. But yeah, I would totally, I just finished binge watching The Office, and it made me cry, unfortunately. I don't like crying. But it made me cry. I'm just like, it's so beautiful. I love it. But yeah, now I'm watching Kimmy Schmidt, which is a Netflix series, and it's like, I love it so far.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, yeah, I was totally done with my statement. Sometimes I end my sentence with because, and then I don't explain anything.
I was gonna say about Breaking Bad. I actually binge watch Breaking Bad season 1 through 4. I don't really like season 5. I don't even acknowledge it because even though it has some good parts, like the dinner scene, but it's just...
With it, I'm like, yeah, we're right here. And other times I'm just like, you gotta stop, because I feel like you're gonna murder me. Please don't. I like living. I like life. So I'd like to keep that one going.
Well, wrapping up, do you have anything you want to say to your fans and listeners? And if our fans and your fans and listeners do want to follow you, are you on Twitter, Facebook?
I am on Twitter. I didn't know I had fans, so hello there, whoever you are. My Twitter is at Nescaloo. It's NESSCALOO. You can follow me, send me a tweet if you feel like it. I'll respond back because, once again, I'm a nice person. And I don't like to shun people. So, hello there, and welcome to my world, I guess.